Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Future of MedTech series. I am joined by Heidi Doshe, founder of Torta Height. Heidi, it is a pleasure to have you here today. I'm really excited. This was an unexpected addition to our lineup, but I'm so happy to have you, and I'm just going to jump right in with how did you find your way into MedTech to start with?
Boy, that's a loaded question. My journey to MedTech was very different than probably most people that are attending this conference. I'm actually a patient and a technologist. So I started an internet company back in the 90s when people actually said, hey, the internet's a fad, no one's going to use that. Guess what? The internet was not a fad, and look where we are today. But that journey as a technologist is what got me the background to getting into data, getting into delivering technology solutions. But I also became a heart patient when I was a teenager. I had an AV ablation, and I've been 100% dependent on medical devices since 1983.
Wow.
So 40 plus years, I've been device dependent. And so I also chose to continue being an athlete. For me, this idea of how do I use the data as an athlete to understand what's going on in my heart, and then take those insights and have a better conversation with my doctors so I could tell them what it was I wanted the device to do. So fast forward, my personal life, my patient journey, and my professional life as a technologist brought me into the space of MedTech. And now I wear a couple of hats. I am a patient advocate, but I'm also a technologist building AI platforms for medical device companies.
That is it. I will say it's not the first time I've heard this. So, but you're right. It is an unusual path into MedTech, but what a valuable perspective, because I think that sometimes we in this industry, we're technologists, we're not patients.
Yeah.
we're doctors. There's a lot of physicians, practitioners. That's what I was trying to get to practitioners. There's a lot of practitioners, but not a lot of patients.
Correct.
And so that brings such a valuable perspective to add that voice, because ultimately that's who we want to serve. You have the perspective of an end user, and that makes
Correct.
that incredibly valuable. Yes.
So, and that was one of the topics that we discussed here at the conference, is the value of bringing the patient voice into product development for medical devices. Because if you're building your device for your physician KOL, and that's easy, well, it's not easy, but it's comfortable, because that physician is going to bring a perspective that is knowledgeable, that's easy to distill the information that they're bringing and put it into feeding it back to your R&D team, or how your product processes. Talking to patients is hard, and yet medical device companies, the industry is all about, hey, we're patient centric, but we don't want to talk to patients because it's hard, it's difficult. It's like, well, will the patient actually have something valuable to say? And can we prove an ROI that it was worth the effort to engage them? And I think with where we are today with digital health and this idea of patient-generated data with wearables, whether they're consumer wearables or wearables such as patches and things like that you can get this continuous data stream, all of a sudden, that pathway to engaging the patient and getting something meaningful and actionable from that engagement is a reality. So that's where I think things are getting really exciting.
That is so exciting. And so that was a perfect wrap up of where are we right now? Where are we today? And it's changing in a way that is really exciting. So now I want you to think a little bit bigger. Where do you see us in a year from now? And then maybe 10 years from now, what does this look like from a patient perspective, as you are able to speak to it, from a medical device perspective? Where can we help each other make better products and ultimately serve patients better?
Right. So, like I said, I've been on this journey as a patient for 40 years, and I mentioned that I started, this internet thing early on when people said the internet's a fad, no one's going to use this. I've been giving talks on the future of healthcare and patient engagement and data transformation for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I was told we're never going to use patient-generated data. consumer wearables don't provide anything of worth. And look where we are now. You're asking the question of, hey, how do we use patient data? Where do we see it going? So yes, it doesn't happen fast, but we are making headway. And so think about we've reached a point where technology and compute, just the actual ability to ingest and compute huge amounts of data is possible. So we needed to have that happen. Well, now we can generate lots of data. We can bring that consumer patient data, the medical grade data, the remote patient monitoring, and then the data that's generated by my device, bring that together in a data lake and now apply AI or algorithms, and you can have that actionable insight. Because the problem was, well, first we can create the data, but there's too much of it. It's all noise. Well, now we can bring that data together. We can provide, an algorithm or have a chat engagement with the data, depending on what stakeholder you are. And then you can have it reply with something that's very insightful, it's actionable, and now someone can do something with it. So if you're a physician, can you now provide better care more quickly to your patient population? If you're R&D for devices, can we now create some, alignment across different activities or something that the device is doing, and now we can do product improvement? And if you're a clinician and you're looking at clinical studies, something like that, a researcher, how do you now take that data and now you have more patient engagement and patient data in your clinical trials and have aha moments to say, wow, we didn't expect this, but now here's something we can do, or now we can have a study around proving the efficacy.
I love this, because what I'm hearing you say is that as we're moving forward, as this technology advances, as AI is integrated to do the analytical side, we as stakeholders in the industry, as the medical device manufacturers, founders, as physicians, as practitioners, and as patients can work as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And we are able to take that analytics and outsource it in a way, but make those improvements so much faster. And to bring all of that together is just going to lead to better outcomes for everybody involved.
Well, and guess what else it does? So it actually allows us to expand the box. So when you think about a medical device and it's developed for a patient persona, and cardiovascular disease is a great example, there's a default persona of a 65 to 85-year-old who's got an activity level of aggressive walking. I don't look like that person.
Right.
I'm a competitive athlete who also happens to be a heart patient. When you are able to start to look at the data and you find out that, okay, there's more people that fit in the outlier category than in the box category, let's collect the information. Let's identify a new persona or expand the box for who we are building. You now are building better products, better medical devices for a larger patient population, which then leads you to actually creating devices that your patients have the type of outcome they want.
Right, and personalizing that.
Exactly.
And personalizing that for every single specific person.
It's like personalizing care at scale in a
That's
cost-effective
amazing.
way.
Oh, that is a beautiful future of MedTech, if I have ever heard one. So I can't wait to continue to see this, and we'll check back in and maybe next year and see, hey, what does this look like now? Has our answer changed? And we'll find out. So thank you so much for joining me today, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so very much for having me.